Hi, in this video, I'm going to share with you the one thing that you need to stop doing that will totally change your life and what to do about it. From a young age, you are conditioned to overthink. Overthinking is just the way the world works, but overthinking prevents you from being able to hear yourself, your own intuition, your own guidance from your higher self and source. It prevents you from receiving creative inspiration. It just muddles the mind. But from a young age, we're taught to overthink everything, not to trust your intuition, to overanalyze things and beat things to death, so much so that many of us never even get out of the gate because this awesome idea that we received, we talked ourselves out of, or we overanalyzed it so much we took the fun and the excitement out of it. Now, overthinking doesn't just come from school. It can definitely come from your parents and your family because they too have been taught to overthink. This is how society has been for a very long time. Maybe you were somebody who struggled with school and you had to overthink in order to get good grades or feel like you were applying yourself enough. So it can very much be a safety mechanism, this need to overthink. And it prevents us when we get older from doing the things that our soul actually wants us to do. It does have maybe purpose now and then, but I will tell you from my standpoint, after freeing myself from this, that it doesn't. Overthinking is just a pattern, a thought pattern that you have running through your mind that clouds everything that your soul and your higher self are sending you about what your life should be, what you should be doing, not how it would happen, but to trust that guidance. And when you don't trust that guidance, you overthink it. I see so many people who get these great ideas and they're so excited about it. And then I talk to them 2 weeks later and I'm like, what happened to that? And they're like, oh, I decided not to do it. It's too hard. Well, that's because you go into this analysis paralysis energy and you just literally talk yourself out of it. And we don't know how to not do that because we're conditioned to do that. And we automatically do it without even catching that we're doing it, which causes problems. Like it's a subconscious thing. We automatically take things in and we overthink it. Now, your mind is connected to a global network. And this is the consciousness, if you will. And like the internet, every mind is connected to every mind, to everything that has consciousness in the world. So you're not only getting inputs into overthinking from your own thought patterns that you got from childhood, you're also overthinking because of all the inputs that you're getting into your mind all day long from media, social media, the news, friends and family. And you don't necessarily have to even be around people to get this because the internet's always connected, right? When you shut off your computer, you're still connected to the internet. So your mind constantly receives all this feedback. And many of us are actually processing or thinking about thoughts that aren't even ours. But it just fills the mind with all this junk. And it's really hard to hear what you're supposed to be doing with your life or what your guides are telling you if you've got all this going on in your mind. So it's really important for you to get this under control so that you can start to hear that voice, start to hear your higher self or see the images if you're not somebody who hears. Because it's like you have a metal plate over your head. When you're overthinking, your mind's really busy. We call this the hamster wheel. It's like you have a mental plate and the source is like a woodpecker on the top of your head, like ding, 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 ding. And it can't get through because there's so much activity in your mind that you can't hear it, see it. It doesn't even get in. So the first goal in this, there's two goals in this. The end goal is for you to fully disconnect from overthinking. It can totally be done. I have done it, and it is wonderful. But the first part of this is understanding what version of this mind network you are connecting to. And I'm not so much talking about the matrix, because in essence, this is kind of matrix-esque, but it is what frequency of the matrix are you connecting to? There is not just one matrix. There are millions, if not billions, of different matrices. And we want to stay somewhat connected because this is also where source connects in, where higher self connects in, and we get the information that we do need that will help us and guide us to that vision that we have for our lives and have that clarity that we all desire to have. If your mind is at a frequency of fear, and you can use a pendulum and very easily ask, is my mind frequency at fear? You will connect to the global network of fear, and it will feed you information into your head all day long, whether the TV is on or not, or whether you are doom scrolling on any social media platform. You are going to receive input that you may not be aware of from that fear network that backs up seeing a reality based on fear. So if you're somebody who's tried to disconnect from this or tried to meditate and you just get these thoughts like popping off in your head and you can't seem to get them to stop, that's because that mind network is feeding you thoughts that match your frequency. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what beliefs or conditioning you have that have you tapped into this fear matrix. And you have the ability to change this within you. You have the ability to change the programming in your mind like this. 30 seconds, done, gone. So this is not something that has to take a long time. Now, there are behaviors that you are doing that may influence overthinking. So if you change this, say this fear frequency to connecting to the frequency of, I don't know, abundance or joy, it may not stay there because you may have things about having that freedom of your mind and that less quiet version of that matrix. And I will tell you, those higher frequencies of matrices are much quieter. There's so much less input. You may not feel safe because I mentioned in the beginning that overthinking is sometimes a safety thing. It's not safe to trust myself. I need to think about all the possibilities that could go wrong so I can be prepared. These are all things that cause overthinking, the worry, the anxiety. So then we don't feel safe. It's almost like emperor without any clothes. If we feel naked without overthinking, it's like we haven't prepared. But when you're truly tapped into your intuition and truly connected to source and your higher self, you don't have to worry about that because they're going to tell you. You're going to know. The way you were made to know. So first things first, you got to get yourself off the fear mind matrix and into the frequency of the mind matrix that you want to be in. And it can be anything. You can look on the online for emotional scale and it'll show you the different frequencies and which ones are the higher frequencies. And you can work on getting your mind to those higher frequency matrices so you only receive input that makes you feel good, that makes you have joy, that makes you feel good about your life, that creativity flows through. You know what you're supposed to do because that's all the input you're getting. Now, once you have freed your mind, you will have that clarity. And I want you to ask yourself, is it worth it to try to figure out why you overthink for that clarity? You will get that inner knowing. It's not that you're not getting it now. You can't hear it because there's all this beep, 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 beep going on in your head and you can't hear the inner knowing. Manifesting becomes easier because you're really clear on what you want and there's no fear involved. And I've talked about this in another video about your default frequency. You attract the frequency that you're in. Well, if your mind is at empowerment and your default frequency is at empowerment, you will receive information into your mind of empowering things that will make you feel more of that and be able to manifest more of that. So when you visualize having I don't know, $10,000, it's not clouded with the energy of fear because you're on that fear matrix. So if you're trying to manifest $10,000 and you're in the fear matrix, you're going to receive constant thoughts into your head all day long about why you can't have it, why everyone else has it and you can't have it, why you're not lucky, why all the things. But if you get yourself off of that, you won't have all of that noise in your mind about why you can't manifest it. You'll be in that energy of knowing that you already do, which is a huge key with manifesting. Now, I share with you one thing that you need to do in order to break this cycle. The other thing is you have to be conscious of your triggers. What makes you overthink? And try to catch yourself when you're doing it and recognize it as just a program that you have in your mind that can be changed. And try to see why you're doing it. Do you not trust yourself? Do you not trust the universe? Do you not trust your intuition? Is there something about whatever you're being guided to do that feels unsafe? And really start to examine those beliefs and the stories you tell yourself about this to see what is driving the overthinking. Yes, a lot of it is subconscious and it's driven by the conditioning that we have all learned from our parents, our family, and society. But it also has become somewhat of a safety net, the energy of overthinking. So what triggers you to do that? And once you understand your triggers, you can change those, work on changing those, and then you don't overthink anymore. And I will tell you that it is so worth it to do this. It's just a clarity. I don't have those thoughts running through my mind anymore. And like, where the hell did that come from? Like I wasn't even doing anything related to that. Where did that come from? It's just because I was on that mind network that was then sending me inputs of information that weren't even mine. But we assume everything in our mind is ours, and that's not true. This is why they say you're not your thoughts, because they're not all yours. So play with this. See where you are stuck with overthinking. Drop a comment below if you find yourself struggling with overthinking and this is something that you would like to change. Now, one last bonus to this. I'm going to do this in a separate video, so it's easy for you to go back and listen to it and you don't have to watch this video again. But I'm going to do a short recording on how to clear your mind of the programming that you learn from a small child that you've been conditioned to do that causes you to overthink automatically. So you can at least start to see your triggers, but also potentially stop overthinking the things that you know you're supposed to do or that your soul is calling you to do. And in there, you'll be able to better understand why you overthink, what drives it, so you can start to take your power back. So thank you for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.